The sun had me in the first half, I ain't gonna lie. But now I got a shade cloth and I can properly protect all of my plants from this crazy Texas heat wave that we've been having. So I just kind of want to show y'all what I got going on back here and why I had to even put up a shade cloth in the first place. Okay, so problem number one, my bell pepper plants are going through it. Like, the sun has been so intense, and these are actually transplants that I got from Callaway's nursery. And they were doing good at first, but when this Texas sun just rolled in and it was like 95 degrees all these days, my bell pepper plants have just not been responding well to this heat. Look, the leaves are getting crispy, curling up, and just dropping off, which is crazy, right? The second reason I had to get a shade cloth is that my watermelon, unfortunately, just cannot take it. If you look closely here, you can see the edges of my watermelon plant are just kind of like yellow and black. And you can't feel this on camera, obviously, but they're very crispy, y'all. I mean, these are some crispy watermelon leaves. The main problem for me is that my flowers were blooming and then crisping up and then just dropping off, right? Before any bees could pollinate them or anything. So I think in order to get my watermelon to actually fruit, I need to provide it with a little bit of shade. The third reason I need a shade cloth here in Texas is because my tomato plants are literally struggling under this sun. I was reading up on tomatoes, and apparently these can't withstand temperatures of like 95, 90 plus degrees. But I want to kind of show you guys like just the crispiness that's happening right now. And I've pruned this thing so many times getting off these dead leaves, but each week there were just more and more and more. And then the fourth reason I need a shade cloth is because my corn is suffering. I want y'all to look at this right now. So the corn ain't supposed to look like this. It's supposed to be, let me find one that looks good. It's supposed to be like this, y'all. It's supposed to be a nice healthy green color. I feel like if I just take a look around this mini cornfield that I've created, there's a lot of brown, y'all. There's a lot of yellow and brown because the Texas sun has just been whooping up on my beds. I got this shade cloth from Amazon. I think it only cost me about $19 to $20 or something like that. And this is a 40% shade cloth, which means that it lets in 60% of the sun and it blocks out 40% of the sun. What I really like about this shade cloth is that it has holes at the top. So whenever it rains, I'll still get water coming down, right? So I can still collect that good rainwater that makes my plants grow like a foot after big storms. So that's something that I really appreciated. And then the other thing I like about this shade cloth is that it has these little grommets. These came in handy so much when it came to installing this thing, but more on that later. Installing this thing was a bit more work than I anticipated because everything I needed to make this go way quicker was out of stock at Home Depot and basically every other store that I could have gone to. So I had to do, I wouldn't say an extreme workaround, but not something that I was anticipating doing at first. So what I ended up doing, y'all, is I found some wooden stakes in Home Depot. So I got those and I placed those all around my bed. And then I got some 10-foot PVC pipe and I slid it over the wooden stakes. And so that gave me the height that I needed to kind of get my shade cloth up into the air and away from my tomatoes. Now, the funny part is that I could not find any circular wooden stakes in Home Depot. I kind of found, I guess, what you would call like circular pegs. So I spent like an hour taking my knife and creating like a sharp end on one side of the wood so I could actually turn it into a stake. And once I had done that, I took my PVC pipe and I drilled holes into the top where I wanted to connect my shade cloth. I added these PVC pipe caps to the top so that when it rains, water doesn't come down here and like fill up inside of the pole. But yeah, just to show y'all real quick. So I drilled a hole in my PVC pipe. See right there. And then I used a zip tie to connect the shade cloth to the pipe. And that was pretty much it, y'all. It was really simple, not what I was anticipating, but for sure it definitely gets the job done. Just standing under this shade cloth, it's already noticeably cooler. Like it's so much more bearable just standing under here. So I can only imagine that the plants probably feel a lot better. Like even if I stretch my hand out here, you can see the shade that's over my hand versus if I'm just like holding it out in the sun, right? And it feels better. So now, after doing all this, I'm looking to see some real improvements in my plants. Since they're not going to be so heat stressed, what I really want to see is maybe my watermelon flowering again, so that I get a second chance to hand pollinate this time before the flowers just kind of shrivel up, turn brown, and drop off. I am looking to see whether or not my bell peppers will come back. I was reading somewhere that if you have stunted transplants, it's probably best to just get rid of them, but I don't know. I feel like I'm in the experimental phase and I just kind of want to see what'll happen. I also want to see if my tomatoes start to do better and maybe even fruit now that I have them under a temperature that's not 90+ degrees. So yeah, those are the things that I want to see this shade cloth kind of provide me in the next few months, because it's going to be a hot summer, y'all. It is only June in Texas, so when we get to July, when we get to August, and even some parts of September, I feel like that's when it's really hot, really sticky, so we'll see what happens. Now, unfortunately, I didn't have time to put up a shade cloth over my corn, and I'm kind of debating if I'm gonna do it. I mean, the corn is pretty much still developing. It's towards the end, so I don't know if it's even worth putting up a shade cloth at this point. If any of y'all are more experienced at this, please tell me, like, for the way that my corn looks right now, right, I got like some crispy ones like I told y'all before, but like on the more shaded side, I still have some green husks. Is it worth me putting up a shade cloth at this point? Comment down below and let me know, because as always, y'all know I need help. So until next time, happy gardening.